Good evening, people. How are you this evening? Oh, time to sit with me. Hello, Mrs. M, Justin, Stefan, Anthony. Time for some juice. Oh, I'm just checking the Wi-Fi quickly. Oh, let's see. Yeah, quite a few people already. Hello, everybody. Hello. So, tonight's hot debate, let's wait for some people to come in, is to clone or not to clone, to buy clone juices or not to buy clone juices, and what's the what damage can clone juices do, not only for the consumer but also for small businesses out there. Oh, I don't even know really where to start here. Okay, obviously there's been a let me say how's it to everybody quickly. Hello everybody. Hello. Assalamu alaikum to all my Muslim followers. The body is in proportion to the big guy. Yes, it is. Let's wait to play this out. Okay, guys, there's enough people that have started. People can join in as they go. Obviously, which has been a big topic of debate recently, is the amount of counterfeit juices that are available in the community, and it is growing at a drastic rate. I was just looking at a list on one of the social media pages. It was, I think, John posted it on Vape SA. I think there was like 17 or 18 brands that have been counterfeited already, by various companies, whether they're from China or another country we obviously don't know. This conversation is really about are they safe for you or not. But I think before we actually start the conversation, because I know that people are going to, you've always got people that are negative, and people are going to say, yeah, but you'll sell clone mods, that some vendors do sell clone mods. We sell clones. We've openly admitted that we will sell specific clones, and just want to clearly differentiate the two. There's a big difference in using a clone mod and in ingesting or digesting. I don't even know what the right word. Ingesting something that's a clone liquid. Health-wise, there's two major differences there. Sorry, my dogs are going off here. Obviously the neighbors have just got home, so please excuse the dogs. I can't stop them. But just getting back to it, and we were taken a little bit to task by some of the high net worth group about bringing in the clone billet box, and a little bit of story behind that, why I say that people mustn't be funny with, people say no, you must only buy originals and stuff like that. People then must stop downloading movies, people must stop downloading CDs. There's one goes in hand with the other one. The difference is it's something that you're ingesting. So yes, we do import clones, but the reason for that is there's a demand for it, and not the fact that we didn't try to get the originals. We tried to get the originals, they just wouldn't sell them to us. So yeah, and the billet boxes have arrived. When they arrived, they are clones. We've quite clearly stipulated they're clones, but you cannot tell the difference between them. Even now I see that there's people using clone Skyline tanks. The people who own the originals are using the decks of the clones because the deck of the clone is better than the original. So yeah, but that's not the topic. I just want to put that out there, is that there's a big difference between using a clone mod and using a clone juice. Massive difference between the two, and people mustn't be hypocritical. If you download any form of movie, you stream any unlicensed videos, or download CDs, I'm sorry, it's all the same. So don't judge people until you look in your own back garden or backyard or whatever. But the topic tonight is about clone juices and what's good for you and what's bad for you. Obviously, as a juice maker, we take every effort to make sure that every single solitary component that goes into a juice has an accompanying certificate that says this is of the highest grade possible. Okay, you know, I've got a couple of items that I'm going to pop up on the screen. Ankle stop poke but healing. Okay. So that's called E.T.'s comment in the bottom there. How's it, John? The problem with clone juices is that no one has a certificate or certificates for the compounds that make up that juice that can hand you a pack of certificates that says these juices were made with components that have been tested and to be found safe for human consumption. If you want to break down a juice, there are 4 main components in any e-juice: propylene glycol, vegetable glycerine, nicotine, and then food flavorants. And there obviously can be multiple food flavorants in there. Some companies use alcohol in theirs as well, but those are the main components that are in the juice. Now the problem is that these counterfeit juices, we don't know where they come from. You know, we know that if you buy a cutwood, from original cutwood juice, that's one of the juices that have been cloned, and it comes from the original vendor, supplier, you know it's original. But if you getting cutwood from China, when cutwood is not made in China, you have to think that it's fake. You know, there's that old saying: if it looks too good to be true, 99.9999% of the time, it's not true. You know, yes, everybody is living on very tight budgets these days because of what's going on in the country, and you know, salaries are not making people you know, coping and whatever. But to vape on a juice where you have no idea who has made that juice, in what environment that juice has been made in, is just not clever at all. You know, and it has a ripple effect through the community. You know, it not only affects your vendors, because now your vendors who are stocking the original have to compete against somebody who's charging you. I think that the cheapest that I saw was a 30ml bottle of cutwood juice for 60 Rand. You can't even land an original bottle of cutwood into the country for 60 bucks. So, yeah, how can you be selling it for 60 Rand when you can't even land it for 60 Rand? You know, so that just, it just doesn't make sense. And what happens is that ripple effect ripples down to the vendors, and then you're putting businesses out of business. You end up closing businesses because they've spent proper money on proper items and they can't sell it because they've got a guy on the corner street who's trying to jump on the gravy train that is vaping to try and make a quick buck, and that's just not on. Let me go check through some questions here, guys. If you've got questions that are important, not just generally, just tag put my tag there, and it'll pop up as a red little icon, so that but only if it's like a relevant question, if you don't mind. Just going through some questions there quickly. Vincent asks, Vincent Fansal, some local juicers are calling out smaller juicers, or I'm assuming that he's making juice makers, for being dangerous and putting people in hospital. Also, lots of juicers are becoming snappy at the DIY community. Vincent, I'm gonna have to disagree with you. Everybody, I'm gonna agree with you and disagree with you. There are a lot of what you actually need to say in those comments is that you started I'll use myself as an example. When I started making juices, I made them in a sterile environment, but not to the level of sterile environment that I have today. Everybody started somewhere, and it's to what you should actually turn around to those juice makers and say to them, guys, you started off there. Don't stop me having my dream of achieving there, but you have to follow through with your dream. So when you move up the levels as a juice maker, you have to take those precautions. You have to put in the safety measures to make sure that your juice, especially if you're selling your juice, is at a quality and made in a sterile environment. So if the bigger juicers are having a go at the DIY community, that is wrong, in my opinion. We've always said, guys, we'll always prepare to help the DIY guys as much as we possibly can with what we've got available for them to use. But yeah, everybody started as a DIYer. Nobody just walked in and said, oh, I've got 1,500 different recipes and I can make 50 juices right now at making 20,000 bottles of each juice. No one can do that. So yeah, there's a place, but you have to take every conscious effort to make sure that what you're doing is for safety as the consumer. If they are not doing that, if they can't show a semi-sterile environment which they are working in, then they have to be taken to task. Yeah, what we found is that a lot of the, and please, don't think I'm being racist or anything. We find a lot of the Pakistani type of setups where they've got a hairdressing salon, a tobacconist, or a barber shop, a tobacconist, and they're selling e-juice stuff on the side. A lot of them are stocking these juices, and I'm almost willing to bet that at least 50% of them don't even know that they've got fake juices, because all they're trying to do is make money. They might not necessarily even vape. That's the big problem, and that's where it actually needs to start. Is that people see this vaping game as a quick way to make some money, because it is a quick way to make some money if you've got really good juices and you've got the facilities at hand to sell this stuff. But a lot of these guys, they might not even vape, but they still smoke, and they're selling the stuff, and they don't know any better. They see, well, I can buy this for 15 Rand a bottle in China, and sell it for 60 bucks. I'm going to make a profit, and that's what happens, and that's how the whole process starts. Yeah, Mohammed, we're not talking about batteries here, but we're talking about e-juices. We can have batteries at a different time. Yeah, Matthew says you can buy cloned hardware that will hurt you and the original won't. And the same thing on safety. Yeah, I know Matthew is 100% correct on the situation of hardware. It all depends on where you're buying it from. There are cloning companies available in China that make the product actually better than the original. You know, I've got some original Atties and I've got clones, and the clones are actually made better quality than the originals were. So yeah, he's got a valid point, but it's depending on where you buy that clone from. Yeah, Stefan, that's the problem. These guys have got so... Stefan says, how does one tell the difference between original juice versus fake juice besides the price difference? And you see a lot of guys are getting clever here as well. You would normally be able to tell the difference because of the price. You know, if you go and look on any of your major retail guys like us, like Cloud Lounge, like Vape Cartel, like any of those guys who sell these juices, being Cutwood, Fantasia, Loaded or whatever, and what they selling the juices for. Okay, now remember, we're buying these juices in bulk, so we're getting a really good price on the juices. Okay, and then we're selling them on, and most of the guys are within 10-15 rand of each other. If you look at those prices and then you walk into a shop, let's just say a tobacconist, and you see that juice for half the price, immediately alarm bells should go off. Immediately alarm bells should go off. You know, as a little tobacconist that might have 10, 15, 20 bottles on his shelf, or even 100 bottles on his shelf, how can he afford to sell that bottle cheaper, having the same similar overheads as a shop, than a retailer who orders in bulk? So that common sense comes into that equation, in my opinion. Besides, also these guys are getting really good on their packaging. They are scanning these packaging. They are replicating these bottles to the T. So it is really hard to do it. And what we found out now as well is that there's a lot of these guys that have said, well, hey, I know it's a clone juice, but let me sell it for the same price because people aren't going to question it. That's, unfortunately, there's no way to get around that. You know, if you've tasted an original juice and you know what that juice tastes like, okay, and you buy another juice and you buy juice from a place and it's slightly cheaper and that juice doesn't taste the same, and you've got a mental memory of what that juice tastes like, that's the only way that you're really going to tell these days, because they are so good at the cloning. Look, just take a 200 rand note. There's been an influx of 200 rand, fake 200 rand notes that they are battling to find that they are fake, but they are fake. It's the same scenario. The cloning is just getting better and better and better. You know, that's going to stem back to our community as well. You know, from a cloning perspective. You know, and please, you know, you might take me the wrong way. It's not meant to be offensive or anything like that. Why, you know, you let's just take. I can't even actually use names because I don't want to put anybody on the spot. But you take a well-known South African juice, you know, and you see I don't mind in a DIY page, because a DIY page is for guys to spread the love of vaping, and they're playing around with different recipes. But on a public forum, which is not a DIY page, to go and say, listen, anybody got this recipe for a well-known South African juice? and then we find out that the same person is actually marketing the juice as a specific juice knockoff. You know, that's wrong, guys. That's really, really wrong. The amount of time and effort that goes into juice making, and the R&D and the costs and expenses, the laboratory equipment, the trial and errors, it is absolutely mind-blowing, the expenses when you actually work out what it costs to make juice on mass production. Big difference to doing DIYing. To make juices in mass production, the expense, you would be shocked if you had to get into our game and make juices. And you must also remember that the juice prices haven't changed for a hell of a long time. But we're getting off the subject here. It's about international juices that we are concerned about. I just want to go through some questions there quickly. Stefan says, if you've got a directed question to me, if you can see how Austin and Stefan are doing it, then it's easier for me to see the directed questions at me to answer. Please, can you do that so that I don't have to skim through everything. Okay. Stefan says, what are some of the brands that are cloned? So far, I know that I think there is a poll going on the Vape SA forum, but there's probably 20 juices. There's Cutwood, there's Loaded, there's Fantasia, there's about 20 juices. Go look on the Vape SA. I think John, can you just post a link to that on the group so that people can actually go and see those juices so they can be aware, but not everybody goes and messes around on Facebook the whole time, please. There's Nasty Juice has been fake cloned as well. Austin asks, are the products being sold at Vape Cartel legit? I can guarantee you emphatically that Kieran or Duncan from Cape Town would not sell any fake juices. I can guarantee you that without a shadow of a doubt. Your high-end vendors and your vendors that have been around for a long time have got such a good reputation in the industry that they would not take a chance of stocking counterfeit juices, and we make every effort to make sure that the juices that we get are legit. So yeah, I can just rest assured there that Vape Cartel would never have clone juices on their shelves. Michael asked a question, how do you suggest the general public of vapors can help the situation? Sorry, my camera's going funny now. The easiest thing to do is actually, and I think maybe John can actually do this on one of the forums that he's got on Facebook, is actually for those people who do travel, reps, etc., and who do pop into shopping malls and whatever, that see juices on a shelf going for a hell of a cheap prices, is to go and ask, how much is this bottle of Cutwood? How much is this bottle of Loaded? How much is that bottle of whatever? And then if the price is extreme, it's a lot cheaper than you think it should be, let's put their name. It doesn't have to be put onto social media who these people are. Let's put their name down, and as a community, and I don't even have a problem doing it, sending them an email, send them a letter that says, are your juices legit? Can you supply the following forms? And if they can't do that, then they go onto the list that they are not prepared to furnish where they got the juices from, or they haven't got any certificates of authenticity for their juices, which you can get. If we want to buy juices from Wolfpack, we can actually ask them for a certificate on their juice, okay, to show that it is legit juice from them. And any vendor can ask that. Whether you a small little vendor or you are a large vendor, you can ask for that certificate. And the same as like us as a vendor. If you want certificates of what's in your juice, We keep certificates of all the VG stocks we buy, PG stocks we buy, coded to what juices they went into, along with the attached concentrate lists and their specific safety data sheets for every single solitary juice we make. I don't have all vendors do that or all juice manufacturers, but we at Survape do that, and at Steam Masters we do that. If you had to phone me and say, Craig, we won't give you the recipe, but we can give you the safety data sheets for every single solitary bottle of juice that we've ever made. Now, if we can do that as a vendor, so can the tobacconist on the corner, so can the little mom and pop stop that's opened up and doesn't know any better about counterfeit juices. They can do exactly the same. So that might be the way to do it. John and Etienne, if you see a comment there that someone can't, that you think is a relevant question, please copy paste and put my name in it, please. If you just put at Survape ZA, it should tag it. So in your message, you put the at symbol and Survape ZA, it'll automatically tag it. Yeah, you see, Stefan, you know, cutwood, to land a bottle of cutwood in here, 30 ml bottle of cutwood here would probably cost the vendor 65 Rand, 70 Rand. That's if he's legally importing it with import duties. Now probably a little bit more than that, but 80 maybe 90 Rand with import duties and VAT and all that stuff. Oh, my head's going all funny here. How can you sell that same bottle for a 60 ml bottle knockoff for 40 bucks? Yeah, doesn't sound right. Yeah, Chris makes a comment there. If you can't afford to buy legitimate juice, then learn how to DIY your own juice. Yeah, there are so many recipes available online, people. There are thousands and tens of thousands of recipes online. Yeah, that still works out cheaper than buying the clone juice. Just what I'm going to do, I'm going to post a couple of links for people. You don't have to go and look at it, but these are links of what the pros and cons are of the various. I've only put the two major components being propylene glycol and vegetable glycerine, and then this is what your and I'm also posting a link to a page that has certificates on one of the concentrates that we import. And the data safety sheet that goes along with that flavorant that you're using. Now this is what a juice maker should be doing. He should be looking at every single solitary one of these data sheets when he's making a juice to make sure that he's using concentrates that are safe for you. Now all the top mixers in South Africa do that. I don't say DIY mixers do that. Please don't get me wrong, and I'm not slating the DIY mixers because most of them are just DIYing for themselves or the family. But as people who sell to the public, we have to make sure that what we're doing is safe. Now, you can't say that for counterfeit juices, folks. You can't say that because they won't have this information for you. They just won't have it at all. So those are the lists. Let me just check some more questions. Eduardo, we actually, Enduro, sorry, I couldn't Eduardo. Enduro asked, where do these clones get made and manufactured? It looks like a lot of them come out of China. Okay, now I was trying to find an article before we start here. I'm just gonna. Okay, you know, please don't get me wrong. Okay, I'm not saying that this is true, and I don't want anybody. I'm just merely being a bit of a pessimist here. But I don't know if anybody can remember back to 2008. Okay, which remember China works differently to any other country. There it's an honor to work. Okay, and they work 7 days a week, and it's about producing results. Doesn't care how you produce them, but they produce. And I'll just take a line through our business. They will Chinese people that we deal with we buy stock from, being mods. We don't buy juices from China, being mods. They will lie through their teeth saying that they have the stock, you'll pay for it, and then they'll come back and say they don't have the stock for you, you'll have to wait for 3 weeks. That's what happens in China, because it's all about results, and they want results today. So I don't know if you remember back to the 2008 Chinese milk scandal, where China was manufacturing baby formula. And when they went in, I'm putting a link to it there, okay, and when they went and tested this baby formula, they found a whole lot of chemicals in there that should not have been in there. Okay, now this is for babies. So yeah, I'm just, my mind says, you know, if they're prepared to do that to infant food or infant milk, and they were caught, and as far as I know, that one guy was given life imprisonment or a death sentence or something like that. If they're prepared to do that, okay, then what else are they prepared to do? You know, what is actually going into your juices? That's the more important thing. Buying local in South Africa is still really cheap compared to the rest of the world. Buying local juices, so support local is lacquer type of scenario. So yeah, buy South African, because how do you know that they haven't done this? The similar type of thing. How do you know? Well, let's take vegetable glycerine for example. You get food grade USP grade, I think it's 99.8% pure vegetable glycerine, 99.8, 99.9% grade. I posted a link for it earlier on, that we use, and most of the South African juice makers use the highest quality possible. But then you also get lower grade vegetable glycerine, which is used in soaps, used in face washes, that's not being ingested. Okay, same as with propylene glycol. Propylene glycol you get surgical, I would classify as surgical grade propylene glycol, and then you get propylene glycol that is used in radiator fluid, that is used in brake fluid. How do you know that they're not putting those? Because it's cheaper. The lower the grade, the cheaper the cost is. So how do you know they're not using stuff that goes into brake fluid in your juices? You don't know. So that's why you support local, and more so local that have got a history and have got something to lose by not doing it properly, or you pay the money to buy from a proper vendor, vape vendor, not a tobacconist, proper vape vendor that can give you certificates. What else? There's no gray area. There's no, yeah, but maybe it might be okay. It's cock. I'm losing my train of thought. You vaping on shit stuff, or you're not vaping on shit stuff. That's as simple as it is. If you're prepared to put your life at risk, you quit smoking, if you were a smoker, to get off the shit stuff. You're vaping a cheap liquid. How do you know that's not got the cuck in it? Make a informed decision rather than putting your life at risk. That's, yeah. I could sit here for hours and debate this. Just check some questions there. South Coast, yes, if we have been asked on numerous occasions to actually supply certificates for our vegetable glycerine, where we get it from, and and I'm saying, I'm talking from us, I'm not talking for anybody else. We have got the certificates on hand, and you can get emailed a copy, and it's batch by batch. So when we get a new batch of VG in, you get for that batch, because they all vary. You know, some might be 99.9, some might be 99.8, and it's timed, when it was made, when it was manufactured, etc. We are more than happy to give you all that information. And most of the reputable vendors would do that for you, no questions asked. Yeah, the thing, Austin asked the question, have you guys come across counterfeit concentrates and bases? We have not come across counterfeit concentrates and bases, because we are we don't stock a various amount of large selection of concentrates, although we are expanding it. We currently only stock one brand. We are getting some more brands in, and all of those brands come with certificates. They are all well-known manufacturers. Unless if you are ordering concentrates and like one company is selling the concentrate for 40 Rand for 10 mils, and you can buy the exact same concentrate but a locally made one for 10 bucks for the same 10 mils, I would ask for a certificate. Say, can you give me a data safety sheet for that concentrate to say that it's free of acetone or free of diacetyl or whatever? Can you please give that to me? Does it have any custard based ingredients that could be harmful? Ask those questions. You know, don't just sit there blunt and say, yeah, I'm just gonna trust that they're selling me the right stuff. You can't do that. You can't do that today. And the problem with these counterfeit juices it's gonna happen is that you're gonna get, because people are chasing the money, okay, and don't get me wrong, everybody like to make money, okay, but they're chasing the money, and they're gonna cut corners, okay, and then somebody's gonna get sick and die. Now what's that gonna do? That is gonna ruin the vaping industry in South Africa. People have already got sick on counterfeit juices, as far as I know, okay. So rather be cautious, you know, rather be cautious. Yeah, Enduro, dude, rather don't, but you know, anything from China Mall, don't anything from it sounds like I'm being an arsehole, but don't buy anything from a China Mall, because it can almost guarantee that it's fake. We have known of so many batteries that have come out of there that are fake, juices that are fake, mods that are fake, battery chargers that are fake, things like that. Rather stick away from it. They're about just turning over to the stupid idiot out there. Rather buy your stuff from a registered vendor. There are more than enough vendors around the country, and the prices are so competitive around the country. Rather just buy from a registered vendor. Stuart asks, can't they clone the certificate? How do we know? You are right. They can clone the certificate. Okay. You know, the thing is they will be able to issue you with one certificate. Okay. If you want to go in more depth, you could ask for all the certificates. You could ask for the propylene glycol certificate. You could ask for the vegetable glycerine certificate. You could ask for the nicotine certificate. You could ask for the concentrates certificate. They wouldn't be able to supply you with them. They would not be able to supply you with them. And then, you know, yeah, I suppose if they want to go into that level of faking shit, yeah, that's a risk you take. My real answer is, if it sounds too good to be true, and you are an experienced vapor and you've spent time shopping around on various online portals and seen the average price for that juice, and someone's selling that juice for half the price, Your mind has, common sense has to kick in and say, there's something wrong with me buying this juice. That's just probably the best way to answer that. Devin, it's a custom-made distortion pedal for electric guitar. The Fog Vlog asks, sorry I'm late to the discussion, but how exactly are we planning to tackle this problem? My feeling is the best way to tackle this problem is actually for you as the vapor, okay, the consumer, to and I can ask the one of the, and I think Vape SA would probably be the best one because they have the most amount of members following them, is to maybe put a thread together where it's a closed thread for only for the people that belong into the group, so not anybody can go and have a look at it. Is to maybe go and put a list there. I was at fucking Pizza Novata and I went into a tobacconist and he was selling cutwood juices for $70. I'm more than happy to sit here in the evening and email these tobacconists or find out their names and phone them and ask them where they got their juices from, you know, or send them an email. I'm more than happy to do that. You know what I mean? And if more and more vendors get on board, we can maybe educate them that what they're doing is wrong. That might be the best thing to do. Session, most online vendors today sell concentrates. We sell concentrates, and there's plenty of recipes online. Just look at the recipe, find the concentrates you want, and then just order online or come into the shop. Thing. I requested mine and was told that it's proprietary info. South Coast, if you wouldn't mind telling me who you messaged regarding that. Who did you, what did you request? Just, yeah, South Coast, what did you request? Was it for a specific juice? Or was it for concentrates? Just let me know. South Coast, I've heard of people who are allergic to PG. It'll irritate the back of your throat and you'll cough a lot. Chris, USP and BP are exactly the same, just one country. The one is the United States. I can't remember exactly what it meant, but USP and BP are exactly the same. One is from the UK and one is from the USA. South Coast, yeah. If it looks like a turd and smells like a turd, then it probably is a turd, yeah. Don't buy it. Yeah, Brent says, name and shame these guys selling cuck. We've caught a lot of guys. You know, I'll just use an example, and we were actually unaware of this, and it came across by sheer fluke, and it's one of the other vendors actually picked up on this. Is there was a Facebook page, guys selling counterfeit juices, and his Facebook page was Sir Vape. You know, we are Sir Vape. His Facebook page was Sir Vape, but the way he got around, because you obviously can't have two pages the same, he had S.I.R. Vape. And this was going on for over a month before we actually found out, and he was selling counterfeit juices. And we obviously got hold of him, sent some really strong worded emails to the guy, and he eventually pulled it. But he's selling, and it's not the first time we've caught him. It's the same guy selling these counterfeit juices, just trying to make a quick buck. So yeah. Look, there's answering South Coast's comment here. Okay, a lot of juice makers in South Africa are a little bit skeptical to hand out stuff purely because they don't, it's their hard earned, you know, they've spent not years but months and months and months getting these juices together, spent a fortune on equipment, public relations, branding, whatever. You can ask them, and it's an open statement to the public. If you want my propylene glycol, my vegetable glycerine, my nicotine, my concentrate certificates, I will give it to you with the greatest of pleasure. Okay, I will give you my entire list. I will never give you anything that involves the recipe though, obviously. So when I send you my concentrate list, I will send you my entire concentrate list certificates. I won't send you the individual ones for their specific juice. So there's a big difference what you ask for. If you ask for that specific juice, the guy's not going to want to send you that information. What you need to do is to say, can I please have the certificate for your VG, your PG, your nicotine, and the concentrates? What I would do is I would send you my entire list. So obviously you can see that any concentrate, all my concentrates would be there, and they would all have the necessary certificates. But you must remember that is a lot of work. We've got it stockpiled. I can easily email you within probably an hour. I can get that email out to you. That's not a train smash. Yeah, so yeah, you've got to, it's the way you word it more than anything else. Mark, I can guarantee you that 2 out of every 3 cigarettes in South Africa are fake. They come through the borders. They only be able to maybe catch a third of the cigarettes that come through the borders. South Coast, yeah, they should give that to you, hey? Yeah, they should give you those certificates, eh? Yeah, I don't know who the company was, and I'd be a little bit disappointed, and I'm not trying to cause shit here for the juice mixes that I know and whatever, but they should furnish you that, because that's only in their best interest to furnish you that. Yeah, I might be stepping on people's toes here, but that's the principle and philosophy that we have. If you ask for them, I will give it to you with the greatest of pleasure. I'll never give you the recipe, but I'll give you everything that you need so that you can see we're legit. By me standing up here and saying it, that doesn't mean that you have to trust me. You can ask me and I'll send them to you, not a problem. Hello Milk E-Juice Company, how are you my boy? Yeah, South Coast, yeah, not everybody, and I'm generalizing, and not everybody is prepared to go to the nth degree for their customer, because it is a lot of work. It is a hell of a lot of work, you know, and transparency is the best way of making sure that vaping actually succeeds, and that's transparency from you guys as well. You know, don't try and clone a local person's juices. You know, don't ask for the clone of that juice. You know, it's unfair on the people that have spent the time and effort and money on doing it. Come up with your own juices. You know, use recipes that you get online. That's the better way to do it. Yeah, Julian, that's a very touchy subject. Julian asks, Vape shops or reputable shops in Cape Town selling backyard mixers, juices, premium Max V juices. Is this really acceptable? Sorry, not clone, but just as bad. Yeah, that's a really touchy subject there, Gillian. And it's actually I'm battling to come up with the right way to answer that question. Is that you have to as a juice maker, and I used as I said earlier on in the conversation, I started making juices on the kitchen table. Okay, I took every precaution possible, sterilization, and I used all my profits from those juices to build a small laboratory. Okay, now there's a big difference. You've got to allow those guys, because those guys, they might have the passion for it, but they just don't have the money or the infrastructure to put together. But if they have been mixing for 2 years and they're still mixing it in their kitchen, that's a different story. So yeah, maybe I know that answers your question. It doesn't answer your question. You know, you've got to allow them the opportunity to improve. So yeah, just want to check my phone here quickly. Just hold on. Cool, Devin. Devin, if you look at that link that I posted now, this is what I would send you. That's what I would send you. Just hold on, let me just log in again. Just 2 seconds. Bloody thing. Devin, if you're watching, just go and look on that link. I never ever clone Scream. I cloned Scream in 2 days, but I've never marketed because I've got too much respect for Mark. That link that I posted there now, that's something that I would send you, okay? Because I use the bulk of my concentrates are Flavor Apprentice concentrates, and then I use Flavor Art in most of my juices, and that's what I would send you, okay? Because they are all the concentrates that I use. Now, if you know my juices and you can pick up that, or that juice has got hazelnut in, hypothetically. All the data sheets are there for you to go and peruse, to go and have a look at. The VG certificates are scanned in because they come in per batch. Same with the PG and same with the nicotine. I can scan those in, not a problem. As we get new stock in, we scan them in and we can email them to you. We won't tell you where the stuff comes from because obviously that is a trade secret, but that we can send you that, not a problem. I call my version of Scream Squeal. John, ask Mark. He's tasted, oh there's Mark. Mark, you've tasted Squeal. How close is that to Scream, my boy? Yeah, Chad, that's a valid comment there. You know, that is a bone of contention in the vaping community at the moment. What constitutes a premium? Putting the word premium on it. Yeah, that's Joe Bloggs who makes juice and has sold 1,000 bottles of juice, he can quite easily put his word as the word premium on, because he sold a lot of juice. Is it premium or not? That's debatable, you know. Yeah, that's something that you can talk around for days and years even, and not come down to the right answer. Yeah, 500, as John says, 500 bottles is nothing. On a day in our laboratory, we bottle 2,000, 3,000 bottles. You know, that's quite easily done in a day. You know, 500 bottles is nothing in the bigger picture. Yeah, but yeah, that is a topic that we could debate for hours and days. What is classified as premium and what is not classified as premium. What I don't, you see, the problem is that, and this you might take offense to, this is a community. South African juice prices have pretty much been the same for 3-4 years. 150 Rand for a 30ml bottle. That's the average going price. 155 is the average going price. If you take, let's Marcus here so he can back me up here. Mark's Scream Juice. That would compete with all the American juices. Sold tens of thousands of bottles of Scream. Okay. That I would classify as a premium juice. Now he sells that bottle of juice for 150 Rand. Joe Blogg's DIY, who's now making juice, does not have the same infrastructure, might be making it in his kitchen, okay, sells his bottle for 150 Rand. Doesn't weigh up, you know, and then people complain, you know, that if you classify Scream as premium and you take a bottle of, let's just say, Suicide Bunny, which is classified as a premium juice, you're going to pay $21 for a bottle of Suicide Bunny. Do the mathematics. South African juice prices are so low. Why would you buy a clone? It dumbfounds us juice makers. But yeah, yeah. Not a problem, Devin. Anytime, buddy. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, as Garage says, but anyway, premium shouldn't mean quantity; it should mean quality. Yeah, that's 100% right. Yeah, that one, as Milk says there, I want to see someone ask for Coke for a certificate or even a mug and bean. Look, they put all the stuff on the side of their bottles, but yeah, you know, the mixers that I know and that I associate with are and I think that they would quite happily supply you with the paperwork that you needed on that juice. They would not give you, like I would give you a blanket list of all my concentrates. I would never hand out just the 5, 6, 7 or 8 concentrates that go into a juice, because obviously that I'm opening myself up to being cloned. Okay, obviously the percentages and stuff like that, but you know, eventually after that many trial and error, you'll be able to get it right. You know, yeah, it's that's why I send out a blanket. So like I sent out that link there, that's what I send people. That's the concentrates that I use, and I've got the same for my flavor art concentrates that I use. I send the same thing out. The VG, PG, that's not a problem. You know, you can go buy VG and PG there's a lot of chemical places in South Africa that sell it, as long as it's USP or BP grade. That is not a problem. And nicotine, we do send a certificate out, but we actually blank out where we get it from, because obviously that is a company trade secret where we get our nicotine from. Although there's only really probably 4 or 5 big proper quality nicotine companies around the world. Yeah. Cheers, Fogblog. Just 2 seconds, I've got someone hounding me here. Yeah, Joel would hand out his and Mark would do exactly the same. You know, we've got nothing to hide. We are here for the long run. We are here to make good quality products at an affordable price and continually enhancing your vaping experience. You know, there's total transparency, part of the recipe. We would send you whatever you needed to, for you to feel comfortable that what you are vaping is safe. Okay, and I use the word safe. Nothing's 100% safe. Okay, we put every effort in to make sure that it is safe as possible. But as you know, British Institute of Physicians have deemed it as 95% safer than smoking. Okay, there's still not a lot of long-term testing done. So as and when that comes out, we adjust accordingly. So now they've figured out the diacetyl could be a problem. So we get concentrates that don't have diacetyl or all those other fancy things, names that are cut for you. We don't get them anymore. So you see there's like, especially with the Flavor Apprentice, they've got the DX range, which is free of those harmful chemicals, and then you can still get the old school ones with the diacetyl and that in it. Yeah. Cheers, Vincent. Hey, vape cocktail is in the house. Is that Kieran or Duncan? Yeah, yeah. The thing, guys, is getting back to that counterfeit juices. The only way we're going to stop these counterfeit juices and someone really getting hurt is for people to be aware of it. Is for people to look at it and say, is it too good to be true? If it sounds too good to be true, then it normally is. And rather, the midget, how's it, Kieran? Is to rather let's have some sort of a reporting structure. That Mohammed has been driving down the coast and he's come to he's stopped at some mall and he's went in and he saw it in a tobacconist shop. They had cutwood juices for $60. Put a note on the system what the name of the tobacconist was, put it onto the forum. Let's start some sort of a thing where we can email these guys or get a hold of them and say, listen, are you aware that those might be counterfeit juices and these are the ramifications of it? Best way is education, people. You know, most of the vape shops, the better, the more, what's the right word I'm looking for, established vape shops and vape mixers like Kieran, Mark from Hazeworks, Joel from Hardwicks. You know, we're around here for the long haul. You know, most of us would get involved and try and help. You know, we're all trying to get rid of this crap that's going on in the country. So yeah, let's work together. But we're limited amount of people. You know, there's 30 hypothetically or 40 people who are in the owned vape shops. There's how many thousand vapors? You know, if you look at Vape SA, there's 17,000 odd people on there. Are those all vapors? If they are all vapors and they're all from South Africa, they should be our eyes and our ears. You know, eyes and ears. Report the cases when it looks too good to be true. It normally is untrue. Seeing cutwood juices for $60 or fucking what you call it, what's this other ones, loaded and whatever. Report them, guys. That's the only way to do it. Put it onto the forum. Don't name and shame, because that's not the right way to do it. They might not even be aware that what they're selling is counterfeit. Yeah, there's Kieran saying a customer of theirs landed up in fucking hospital for 3 months from a counterfeit juice. You don't want to take the chance, folks. You know, the likes of Vape Cartel, Survape, Cloud Lounge, Vape King, all those guys, they all established guys. They don't want anything to ruin their reputation. That's why we would never stock that shit. So if you want to buy your stuff from a tobacconist or on a street corner, yeah, then feel free to do that. But yeah, don't come crying. It's like people moan at me for not selling them a mech when they started vaping 2 weeks ago. They don't know how to build their own coils. You know, it's the same scenario, guys. We're here to try to protect you and protect and give you quality products, but we also unfortunately got to give you some bad news. You know, yeah, it's up to you also to come to the party regarding counterfeit stuff. And counterfeit stuff in any way, you know what I mean? If you come across counterfeit juices, counterfeit mods, whatever that look dangerous, report it. You know, easiest way. Yeah, Kieran says pet shop juice must fall. That's a private joke amongst the vape shop owners. Shot John. I didn't know. I don't have time to go through all the stuff, but yeah, as long as it's been done. You could be fine. Your coils could be too low, but Enduro, you might be running a too low a build and it's transferring heat, or there might be something that's slightly loose. Night Siraj. Yeah. Yeah, I think that was the same guy that had a S.I.R. vape Facebook page. I think it's the same guy. Kieran might be able to allude to that more. There's lots of guys. The thing is, guys, is that look, I'm all for DIYing, because I still think that there's some DIY out there that's got the next best thing when it comes to vaping. I really honestly do think that, and that's why we've got an open policy with DIYing in our shop. And I'm assuming a lot of the other vendors would do exactly the same with DIYing. I'm all for DIYing because it is the cheaper alternative. Not everybody has the time, the patience, or the skill to do it, but try it at least. You know, rather try DIYing before buying a clone juice. That's the easiest way to do it. Enduro, if you're in Durban, come into the shop and let me look at it, but I think she hates the beard, Craig, just growling at you. Who hates the beard? No, I want to plait it. I want to put 2 little Viking plaits. I'm going to come to Vapecom with Viking clicks. I want to look like asterisks or obliques. Yeah. Any other questions, guys? Okay. Yeah, I don't know which is the fat one. I think that's obliques. No? Yeah, I think obliques is the fat guy. I want to two plaits like obliques. Yeah, it's getting long. I want to drop down here, then I'll plait it. Yeah, any other questions regarding this clone juice thing? I think as a community, I think we need to all pull together and try and get rid of it, because the problem that's going to happen is that it's going to affect what government, you know, all we need is a spate of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people getting sick in a very, very short period of time on counterfeit juices, and then government's going to get involved. I can tell you that right now. They'll get involved a lot faster because people are getting injured or getting hurt. So as a community, I think we need to actually become watchdogs. We need to be watchdogs ourselves. We need to actually I don't know what the right word is. Someone help me. Come, John, you're good with those things. Self-govern. I don't even know what the right thing is. Yeah, we need to self-govern ourselves, or self-govern. I don't know what the right word is. I'm not good at words, but that's self-govern ourselves. So we need to look out for each other. You know what I mean? For this to be able to work. Yeah, the problem is, John, is that John asks, what's your opinion on anti-counterfeit measures being adopted by manufacturers? You know, the problem is that's all superficial stuff. It's like the heat shrink seals, they've got their logos on it, and they change their logos per batch, you know, but they could make 100,000 bottles in one batch. Who's to say that the bottle you're buying is not from an old batch and they've counterfeited that seal? You know, barcode scanning, is this an original product? You know, who's to say they don't scan a barcode from an original product, put it on theirs, and you scan it? You know, the manufacturer would have to pick up that barcode has been scanned before. You know, there's so many ways and means to duck and dive. Just look at the counterfeiting of money. You know, they've got 200 Rand notes evidently in circulation today that they have to do an acid test to be able to pick up that this thing is not original note. You know, before you could hold it underneath a UV lamp and it would tell you if it was a fake or not. Not today. Now you've got to actually go do an acid test on a piece of paper to prove that it's a fake. You know, not everybody can do that. Yes, Rob, that's that's self-regulating industry. That's it. Thank you, Mr. Rob Fisher, and welcome. Yeah, that's the only way that we're going to be able to do it ourselves, is for everybody to look after everybody else, you know. And when we come across these guys that are selling fake juices on any social media platform, is to actually call them out. Are you aware that your juice might be fake? And report it to admins. If you're on a Vape SA, an IAVA, a Vape Nation page or whatever, and you see things and the guys are selling them for 60 bucks and you know it can't cost 60 Rand, report it to the admin so they can delete it. The more of us getting involved that way, the faster we're going to get rid of these guys. Seriously, it's the faster we're going to get rid of these guys. They're going to say, well, the only way I'm going to be able to sell my juice is if I actually drive around in my car. I can't sell it online. You know, they will never be the type of people to spend the money to open web pages and stuff like that. They'll be flogging it through free media pages like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, and posting. That's the only way that they'll be able to, because if they're too cheap to go and buy original, they'll be too cheap to open up a website. Yeah. And then they would be advertising their website on the social media pages anyway, so if we can just lock them down, and any post that comes up that looks like it's counterfeit, report it to the admin, let the admin of that page deal with the matter. You know, the Vape SA has taken the stance that we will not accept any advertising of clones, juices on their on their Facebook pages, either the community one or the open one. The other guys must follow suit. Vape SA is the biggest vape page in South Africa. They've taken the initiative to do this. The other ones must follow suit. That's in my opinion. Enduro, stop using the mod, but if you're in Durban, bring it in the shop. Let's fix it for you. Ficky, if they're not doing it on social media, there's really no way we can stop them on social media, because if they're not on social media. But then is to get their names and numbers, the name of the business, and let's put together a panel of people. I don't mind doing it, phoning them, said, are you aware the pros and cons of, you know, they sell a device which people are not aware. If they sell a device and that device blows up and that person comes back and says, you sold me the device and it's proved to be a clone, that company is held liable. People might not even know that they're clones. You know, we've had tobacconists contact us to sell our juices, and we say, obviously, we won't put our stuff in any tobacconist, any engine garage, anything where there's cigarettes involved, anywhere. But education is key. You know, educating people about the pros and cons of vaping, educating the people about the pros and cons of using counterfeit goods. We need to do that as a community. You know, there are certain vendors, I know Kieran's one of them, we're one of them, people like Rob Fisher on the E6 SA forum, we're always trying to educate people, but you can't educate it if it falls on deaf ears. You know what I mean? Thanks, Vicky. Yeah, John, the situation, it's not a Vape SA thing, it is a countrywide thing, but you were the first people to take the initiative to actually do something about it and try and muster the people that have the ability to maybe try and help, you know, like putting your post out today or the other day about reviewers and tricksters getting involved and doing something about it. No problem, eh? English. Yeah, Anthony, you're never going to be able to sort out China Malt because they actually don't give a shit. You know, they don't give a shit at all. What you need to do is you need to educate the people buying the stuff from them. Because if they stop buying from them, the people realize they can't sell the stuff, then they don't sell it anymore, they find something different to sell. That's the way you do it. So you educate the people buying the stuff. So when your mate says, oh, I picked up the V-Guard for 600 bucks, brand new V-Guard for 600 Rand. Okay. When you know that a legit V-Guard should go anywhere between 1500 and probably 1800 in South Africa, depending on which vape shop you buy from, good chances it's clone. And then educate the guy and say, well, you know that this could happen if it's a clone, and what if it blows up? You've got no recourse, whatever. Educate the people. Problem is people are cheap. That's the unfortunate thing. People want all the nice things, but they don't want to pay the right prices for them. Mohammed's true. It's difficult to educate people who don't want to be educated. You know, vaping. Whoever told you vaping is cheaper than smoking, they lied to you. Straight off, they lied to you. It's not, especially if you're an enthusiast. You know, most of the people that will buy from your upper market vape shops, you know, are the enthusiast. And they spend a lot more than the average person. But that's a very small, it's the 80-20 principle. 20% of the people will be buying the bulk of the new stuff coming out. 80%, they just want something to keep them off smoking, and the cheaper the better. You know, they're doing the right thing by vaping and not smoking, but they want to get it as cheap as possible. Can't stop those people. You know, unfortunately, you can't stop those people walking into China Mall and saying, and then posting on a social media for yeah, but why are you charging me 250 Rand for that bottle of Cutwood juice when I can get it for 60 Rand? Why are you trying to rip me off? That's fucking load of shit. You know what I mean? And those are the people you need to try and educate. But as you said, you can't educate those who don't want to be educated. So yes, there will be a fallout and a casualty. But if us as a vaping community, that 20% of the people who are passionate about vaping can attempt to do that, we can at least show government when it does happen that we have tried. We have tried to educate the people on not using clones. We've tried to educate people on the right way about vaping, on using juices that are properly mixed, that are not backyard mixes and stuff like that. That's what we need to be able to prove. Now, Chris, it's not saying that you're cheap, dude. Everybody's got a different budget to do with vaping. That's why there's such a market for DIYing, because vaping is expensive. You know, hell, you know, if I didn't own a vape shop and have the juice at my fingertips, all I would be doing is DIYing, because I go through 60 mils of juice a day. You know what I mean? 60 ml juice a day. If you're paying 150, that's 300 Rand a day I would have to pay for juice. Thank fuck I own a vape shop. That's all I can say. because yeah, no, dude, it is expensive to vape. You know, especially if you're wanting to upgrade your mods on a regular basis. You know, coils cost money, wire costs money, cotton costs money. It is more expensive. It's more expensive to combat from the smoking side, but it's a hell of a lot cheaper on your health and your medical bills. That's the bonus side of it. Oh, Justin, back in those days when we had cigalikes, you know, a 10 ml bottle of juice lasted you, because it was 18 or 24 milligram, lasted you a week. Dude, in my Azeroth, I've done 30 mils just today, you know. Yeah. Joel's got a very valid comment. And it's okay if you're in Joburg, because Joburg's still got chemotherapy machines. Durban, the government's fucked up something, and we had 5 machines. Now we've got not even one I'm talking about the government facilities. They don't have one working chemotherapy machine. So you want to vape instead of smoke in Durban, because they got no cancer machines if you're not on a medical aid. See, Ficky, the problem is that these guys are so good at the cloning. You know, they're matching the colors up of the bottles, they're matching up the serial numbers, they're matching up the perforated seals, all of that stuff. It's so. And then some of these guys have got clever. They know it's a counterfeit juice. So what they're doing is they're selling it for the same price. So they're buying it for 15 Rand, hypothetically. They're selling it for, I don't know, Kieran, how much does a bottle of Cutwood go for today? 260 bucks? They're selling it for 260 Rand. They are making huge profits. Do you think they want to stop making those profits? No, they don't give a continental if you get sick or not. That's the problem. You know what I mean? Yeah, it was some lady of the darker persuasion who stuffed it up. Yeah. Because she gave the tender to her uncle, I think it was. Yeah, there were. Cutwood, $21. That's what it retails for in the US. Obviously, as vendors, we buy in wholesale, so we get it cheaper. $21. What's that equate to? Fuck my brains. I don't even know what that equates to in rands. Okay, you can't be selling it for 60 bucks. It has to be fake. Has to be fake. Yeah, as Daniel from Ohms Raw says there, the number 4 or the 4th highest clone juice is Cutwood, Mr. Macaroon, Nasty Juice, and Fantasia. Yeah, you know, if you're buying from a registered vendor in South Africa, your Fantasia is coming from Cloud Lounge, because they've got the distribution rights. So if you find a bottle of Fantasia, that's the easiest way to ask it. If you find a bottle of Fantasia in a shop, ask them where they bought it from. If they don't say Cloud Lounge, then you know it's fake straight away. Probably that's a way to get around it. Ficky, it's not 100% true, but with mods, that's a clone. That's a clone billet box. I deal a lot with the mods. Okay, hold on. I deal with most of the mods and do repairs and stuff like that to mods. There's only one way that you can tell that this is a fake. Okay, and that's by the screen on the DNA. Every other one, you will never tell the difference that this is a fake. And in my opinion, this is made, the components for this is made in the exact same shop as the components for the original, because even the depth of the laser engraving is exactly the same. Yeah, that's my opinion. Yeah, so don't always say it's easy to tell the difference. It's not. It's not always easy to tell the difference. Yo, this fucking camera of mine. Yeah, all the big, as Kieran's saying there, all your big reputable vape shops will sell you only originals. You know, earlier on, someone made a comment about a vape cartel with, I can't remember what the situation was with something, and they said it was a lot cheaper. They could be selling that a lot. They could be buying more in bulk. You know, that's why their price is slightly cheaper. Not everybody, not all juice manufacturers, or not all vape shops can get the same discounts. It all depends on what you're buying it at. So if Kieran's buying, name one of the juices that you stock, Kieran. I can't remember all the juices that you stock, but Kieran stocks a juice, and he orders 1,000 bottles of the juice. He gets it at a lot lower price than if I only order 200 bottles of that juice, because he's buying its minimum quantity, and they've got a sliding scale. So he can afford to sell it cheaper than I can sell it. So yeah, it's not always that. But like Fantasia, you're going to have what Charlie's Chalk Dust. He's going to order 1,000 bottles. I might order only 200 bottles. He's going to get Charlie's Chalk Dust at a lot cheaper price than I'm going to get it, because I might not want to stock the entire range. I might only want to stock 2 of the juices here, where he's going to stock all the whole range. He's going to get it way cheaper than I'm going to get it cheaper. So he's obviously, when he does his markups and stuff like that, it's going to be a lot cheaper than what I can sell, because I'm not getting the same prices he's getting. You know, your juices, like going back to Fantasia, I know. I think Vape Cartel stocks it. We stock it. Foggers stock it. There's about 7 shops that are legitimately. But if you come across Fantasia in a tobacconist, just ask them, where did you buy it from? Did you buy it from? And if they can't tell you Cloud Lounge, then you know it's fake. I did get the cable for the camera, Justin. I've just been so fucking busy, bro. I'm so busy, it's scary, bro. We've got a new shop opening, a VapeCon coming up. Wholesale's coming out of my ear. Yeah, been busy, but any other questions, guys? I've been on for quite a while now, and I see the numbers are dwindling. Yeah, Rob always lurks, eh? Cheers, buddy. Oh, must have dried. Best bake e-juice. Best bakery e-juice in the moment. It's just, remember that juice is a subjective thing. Everybody is different. I just can't get enough of Unbaked by Complex Chaos. I think this is my 6th or 7th bottle. Shh, don't tell Hugo. It's my 6th or 7th bottle that I've gone through. I've actually, I was supposed to email him today. I just want him to do a litre bottle for me, because I just can't vape enough of that stuff. Enduro, take a drive through to our shop, bro. We can come through on Saturday. We can sort it out for you quick. Hello, Duncan. Where's my son? God's dad. For those who don't know, Mr. Duncan Willis owns and runs a vape cartel in Cape Town. So when you see him in Cape Town, just give him a smack upside the head from me and you can tell him it's from Craig. Craig, what if he watches this video? I don't understand their T-vapes. I might have missed the question. What if he watches this video? Don't get that. Yeah, we need to. Duncan needs more hidings. He wasn't smacked enough as a child. He's asking about Hugo. No. He's in bed, or he's talking to some Chinaman. Yeah, we were a little bit concerned about Hugo. He's getting those eyes, you know, those squinty eyes. He's turning Chinese. Yeah, no, I'm only joking when I say that. Yeah, so yeah. I think just as a community, I think we just need to stand together. You know, we need to also help the admins on these various Facebook pages. You know, we all of us are on Facebook at some time during the day, or on Instagram, or on Twitter, or whatever. If you come across these guys selling these cheap juices, just copy the post, PM an admin, and say, please get this removed, or just bring it to their attention. You know, I'm almost positive that Vape SA would delete that post straight away and then ban that specific profile. Yeah, if we can try to bottleneck them. Obviously we can't stop those guys who are just selling in the shop and not advertising, but if you're walking around and you come across people that you think are selling fake juices, pop it on a forum somewhere. I'm sure the stalwarts in this industry will try and get a hold of them somehow and try and stop it, you know. But we need your help as well, eh? Definitely need your help as well. Fucky, it's myself and Hugo do it. We share the social media responsibilities. I handle all the Instagram, I handle all the live feeds, but when it comes to Facebook and it comes to the E6 SA forum, it's both of us. Night, Mrs. M. Are you the Gandalf of vape? No, I'm not the Gandalf. Rob Fisher's the Gandalf of vape. Yeah, we should call him. Hey, that's a fucking good idea. We're gonna start calling Rob Fisher Gandalf. Yeah, we just get him a little hat. Thanks, Daniel. Yeah, I think the more information we've got, you know, information is key. You know, the more information you've got, the better informed decision that you can make. You know, that's the way I look at it. It's all about making informed decisions. You know, that's why I like doing these pages. These live feeds. It's about giving you information. The more information you've got, the easier it is for you to make a decision. You know what I mean? And all your reputable vape shop companies, reputable, well-established juice makers, they've all got a similar mentality. You know. You just have to allow them the time to be able to process the information and send you what they need to send you, if they need to send you anything. You know, it's a two-way street, you know, when it comes to vaping. Cool, Fucky. But you're the bully, Rob. What's Anthony doing? Okay, guys. If there's anybody else got any questions, just bring it here now. I've still got to get back into my laboratory because otherwise I'm going to get beaten over the head tomorrow morning by the Hobbit when I don't bring in what I'm supposed to bring into the shop. So I'm going to give you 5 more minutes to ask any questions. And then I'm going to call it quits for tonight, and let's just try and get this cloning under control, guys. Bali. Rafiq says, I must say I feel local juice is starting to meet the level of international juice. As a juice maker myself, and I'm not putting myself on a pedestal, but what I'm saying, and I've said this numerous occasions before, that South Africans, if you look at the international juice market, all of it is very, very similar. There's nothing unique coming out of these countries. Yeah, you'll get the odd juice that comes out that's unique, but they're all very similar based profiles. Then take a look at the South African community and see what the South African community does. Now remember, we behind the US, we behind the UK on vaping, okay? But I would put really good money to see the top 5 juice makers go up against the top 5 juice makers from the US and top 5 juice makers from the UK. Because I honestly think that the South African juice makers, if they worked as a collaboration, would put them to shame. And that's, I'm being 100% honest there. If I look at it as a juice maker where I've come from day one to today, and I take people like Mark, I take people like Paulie, I take people like Joel. Yes, Joel gets his recipes and he does his own, but I take those and Duncan from Vape Cartel, and I put all those people together, and then I look at these juice makers in America. Yeah, dude, different. We next level compared to them, in my opinion. Gun wax, bro. Only thing you'd be putting on your beard. Ask all the Muslim guys that come to our shop who buy that stuff. It's the best thing since sliced bread. You must remember, Rafiq, the only thing that South African juice makers get in South Africa, okay, is their VG and PG. I would highly doubt that any South African mixer will get their VG and PG internationally. They'll get that locally. Besides that, your top mixers, all of their concentrates come from America or come from the United Kingdom, which are the same concentrates the Americans are using. So that's the only difference. Even their nicotine comes from America. You know, we supply most of the juice makers in South Africa with nicotine, you know, from our wholesale division. And all of the, probably 85% of South Africa's top juice makers use the nicotine that we import into this country, okay, because it's that good, okay. The concentrates all come in from America. The only thing that is purchased locally is VG and PG, and now VG and PG is 99.8, 99.9 USP or BP grade nicotine. So bases. So it's going to be exactly the same in America. The standard is exactly the same. So from a quality perspective, just remember, now we're talking about reputable juice makers. We're not talking about backyard mixers. Okay, far surpasses the Americans. You go taste an American juice. I've got a palate that picks it up very quickly. It is all sweeteners. And just look at your coils. Your coils will be an indication how fast you go through coils when you use international juices. South African mixers don't use a lot of sweeteners and additives and stuff like that to bolster their juices compared to the Americans do. Americans just take the juice loaded, for example. You have to put that in a shelf for three to 6 months before it tastes like anything. If you buy it freshly made, it tastes absolute shit. You've got to let that steep for 6 months. you know, and that's because of the sweeteners and all that other shit that's in there. No, sorry. Fucky, I can tell you quite now, Philip Rock will never kick our asses. I can tell you that right now. He's the most, in my opinion, and this is my opinion, and I would say it to his face, he's overrated, in my opinion. Yes, he's had 1 or 2 good hits, but the bulk of his juices are really average. He's had 1 or 2 good hits. All juice makers have 1 or 2 good hits. You won't find, there's not a lot of juice makers in South Africa that every single solitary juice that they've ever made has been a success. It just doesn't happen. Yeah, so yeah, people put him on a pedestal, but sorry, no, I don't agree with you there. No, John, it's my cap. Okay, guys, it's been a really long show. All I can ask of you, please, is to please support local. Local is lekker. Support your vape shops. Don't argue about price, because you're getting juice at a really cheap price in South Africa for locally made juices. If you come across what you think is counterfeit, report it, especially if it's on a social media platform like Vape SA or one of those other Facebook pages. Report it, let the admin sort it out. If you come across them in a tobacconist shop, make a note of it. PM me, I will phone them. I don't have a problem doing that. It's more about education. But apart from that, guys, keep it real. Yeah, night, guys.